Drawn by hushed sounds from my stepson's room, I peeked through the open door and saw something I was never meant to see. But the real shock wasn't what he was doing. It was discovering he was waiting for me. I had just walked into a twisted game of desire and manipulation that threatened to destroy my life, my marriage, and myself. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, the storyteller on the Adult Women's Tales channel. Here, I'll share stories about love, conflicts, betrayal, and infidelity within American families. These stories offer a deep look into relationships and the challenges families face. Stay tuned and explore with me. If you love emotional stories and want to uncover the hidden secrets in families, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our videos. The bedroom door stood slightly ajar, and I could hear it clearly. Gentle murmurs, hushed breaths, and the subtle groan of a bed frame. Perhaps it's curiosity. Or perhaps something more sinister. As I glanced inside, I was taken aback to find my 25-year-old stepson immersed in his own universe, his movements captivating enough to leave me momentarily breathless. I wasn't meant to reveal this, I found myself admitting, and in that instant, I breached a boundary I promised I would never cross. What transpired next? I certainly didn't anticipate that. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to all of you who have subscribed to this channel. Your support is invaluable to me. Welcome to all the new viewers. Your presence is noticed and appreciated. If you haven't subscribed yet, I trust this story will captivate you and inspire you to hit that button. That small click is the spark that sustains this channel's vibrant energy. I'd love to know your thoughts on stories like this, your reflections, your responses, your evaluations, or insights. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a conversation. Let's collaborate and exchange ideas. Let's return to that unforgettable night. My name is Laura, and I've called Wyoming home for the majority of my adult life. In small towns like this, secrets lie hidden beneath the sagebrush, carried away by the wind and enveloped in silence. I tied the knot with Henry at the age of 42. He was a weathered man with a sturdy build, possessing the hands of a farmer and the voice of a seasoned educator. Powerful, esteemed, yet emotionally detached. He was the father of a son named Ethan from an earlier marriage. My first encounter with Ethan was when he was just 14 years old, with long, slender limbs and bashful grins, respectful and composed. As time went by, the boy transformed into a man, a tall, broad-shouldered man with a quiet smirk. 3 years have passed since Henry and I last touched each other. Neither an affair nor a fight. It's a gradual withdrawal into distinct spaces, individual habits, and separate existences. I remained absent from my responsibilities, driven by routine and apprehension. Ethan returned home for the summer, newly graduated and expressing a need for some time to sort through his thoughts. I allowed him to occupy the spare room, yet little by little, we found ourselves overlapping in each other's world. Lingering glances in the kitchen, mornings without a shirt. As we exchanged plates, his hand lightly grazed mine. That night, sleep eluded me. The ceiling fan spun lazily overhead, while Henry drifted into a gentle slumber in the room just down the hall. I stood up to grab some water, and that's when I heard him. I ought to have turned and left. I could have, but I chose not to. I lingered at his threshold, observing my stepson as he navigated with measured, intentional movements. My name flowed from his lips, reminiscent of a secret he'd shared countless times before. Upon his gaze meeting mine, a wave of guilt washed over me. However, guilt was absent that night. It arrived subsequently. Eventually, what I failed to recognize in that moment was that I had stirred something within Ethan. A realm that was darker, deeper, and far more perilous than I was prepared to confront. The following morning, an unsettling silence enveloped the house. As the clock struck 5:30 a.m., Henry was already making his way to the fields, a routine he never failed to uphold. the porch stood empty, devoid of his boots, and the thermos had vanished without a trace. Consistent pattern, consistent beat. Yet everything felt different to me. As I sat at the kitchen table, my gaze fixed on the untouched coffee cradled in my hands, Ethan strolled in. Without uttering a single word, he simply gazed at me with those familiar eyes, bold, unwavering, and unapologetic. Once again, he stood shirtless, and this time it was no mere coincidence. His jeans sat low on his hips, while his confidence soared to new heights. "Morning?" he inquired. I gazed up at him, feeling a tightness in my chest. "We need to discuss what transpired," I stated. He flashed a smile, effortlessly charming, yet undeniably perilous. We certainly could. We could certainly give it another go. My breath was taken away. I despised how my body responded to him, the way warmth coiled within me like a spark yearning for fuel. I shook my head, my voice steady and resolute. It was a mistake with the number. He bent down, his lips just inches away from my ear. So what's causing that tremble? He was indeed correct. My hands trembled gently against the mug, not out of fear, but from desire. I turned and left him behind, stepping out of the kitchen, leaving the echoes of last night in my wake. No matter how many steps I took within those four walls, I couldn't shake off the weight of my actions or the emotions that lingered. On that day, I made an effort to seem just like any other day. Household tasks, washing up, a swift trip to the store. Ethan was ever present, observing, anticipating, challenging me. Later that evening, as I was folding clothes, I stumbled upon one of his shirts hidden beneath my laundry in the basket. This isn't just any shirt. It's the one he wore the night everything changed, still infused with his unmistakable scent, fresh cotton, alluring musk, and a hint of temptation. I let it go as if it were on fire. As Henry walked through the door, he greeted me with a familiar kiss on the cheek, settled into his seat at the table, and shared stories about a broken tractor and our neighbor's new horse. His complete oblivion shattered me even further. That night, I nestled in bed next to him, enveloped in silence, perfectly still. With his back turned and his breath steady, my phone vibrated to life. "Ethan has a message for you." Only 2 words, pondering still. I flipped the screen over and attempted to drift off to sleep. Yet slumber eluded me. Instead, memories echoed. His hands, his breath, the way my name rolled off his tongue, and even more troubling, the part of me that craved more. Bright and early the following morning, Henry set out once more. As I stood in the kitchen, diligently scrubbing the dishes, I felt Ethan approach from behind, his movements deliberate and assured. I stood still, completely immobilized. He whispered, "You haven't told him. It seems like you're still in the process, huh?" I tried to push him away, but his strength and hunger overpowered me. "It's over, Ethan. That was an error. Just once." He wore a sly grin. "So what's the reason you continue to wear that perfume? The one I mentioned that drove me absolutely wild." I found myself speechless as I realized that I had done it all for him. That afternoon, I reached out to my best friend Sarah, who resided an hour away in Cody. I held back some details from her. Yet, I admitted just enough to reveal that I had crossed the boundary with Ethan. Her silence on the other end hit me like a punch. "Laura, it's time to take a step back before this spirals out of control." Yet it was already escalating within me, surrounding me, in the space between Ethan and Henry, as guilt made its entrance, accompanied by paranoia, shame, and a secret I could no longer bear. Then a pivotal moment occurred that changed everything. That evening, Henry entered the room and announced, "Ethan and I are heading up to Cheyenne next weekend to assist Uncle Tom with the livestock auction." I gave a nod. Then Henry said something that sent a chill through me. He's considering spending some time up there to gain a little distance. It seems that things are quite complex here, intricate. Did Ethan share something with him? Was he considering a departure? Or even worse, was he just toying with me? As darkness enveloped the night, I patiently bided my time until the house fell silent once more. I strolled over to Ethan's room and swung the door open without a knock. He sat on the edge of his bed, once more without a shirt. This time, I remained silent. He glanced upward and remarked, "I knew you'd return." I entered, not out of desire, but driven by an urgent need to uncover the truth about who this boy truly was and what he sought from me. What he revealed next completely dismantled my entire understanding. The air in Ethan's room carried a subtle blend of pine and sweat. The lamp on his nightstand emitted a gentle amber light that illuminated his bare chest. He exuded an air of calm and confidence, as if he had been anticipating this moment not just tonight, but for weeks on end. I shut the door firmly behind me. "What is it that you seek from me, Ethan?" I inquired. My voice quivered, yet I maintained his stare. He reclined on his elbows, legs splayed, gaze locked onto mine. "I need to understand why you continue to act like you don't desire this," he said. "I'm curious about why you gaze at me with such hunger, yet seem hesitant to indulge." My cheeks burned with warmth. A part of me felt the urge to shout, "You're my stepson!" Yet another part of me felt the urge to shout at myself. He rose gradually, and each part of him echoed the journey he had taken from the awkward teenager I once assisted with science projects. At this moment, he had fully embraced his identity as a man, and he was acutely aware of it. Even worse, he was aware that I was aware of it. I averted my gaze, clutching the doorknob as if it were my only salvation. "Next weekend, you're heading out with Henry. Sounds great. We require some room to breathe." I sensed him draw nearer, his breath grazing my neck. "Or perhaps I'll share it all with him before we leave," he remarked with an air of nonchalance. I was completely immobilized. "Could you please repeat that?" He let out a soft chuckle. "Take a breath. I'm not as harsh as you might think. However, I believe there's something you need to know." I slowly turned around, revealing the truth. "What reality?" He settled back into his seat, resting his elbows on his knees. "You believe I simply lost my grip that evening, don't you? I spotted you in the hallway and simply couldn't resist." He took a moment, then flashed a sly grin. "I intentionally made that happen." My stomach plummeted. "What do you mean by that?" "I left the door slightly ajar for you to catch the sound. I softly called your name, knowing you would be awake. I was certain Henry would be in a deep slumber. I was hoping you would come in. It's time for you to confront what you've been avoiding for far too long." I found myself gasping for air. "I noticed the way you glanced at me in the mornings. The fragrance, the gowns with daring necklines, the subtle caresses as you glided by. You held your share of the blame long before events unfolded." My heart raced with intensity. "Did you set me up?" I inquired. He gave a casual shrug. "A choice was presented to you. Congratulations, you did it." My knees wobbled a bit as I settled onto the edge of his bed, completely taken aback. He had captivated me completely. He had expertly twisted my emotions, treating me like a pawn in his game. What's the most frustrating aspect? He was right. I observed him, followed his every move, longed for him. On that very first night, I made a decision. "What is it that you seek from me at this moment?" I inquired, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper. He leaned in, his hand cradling my jaw with a tender touch. "It's time for you to acknowledge that you enjoyed it, that you craved it, and that you're exhausted from feeling unseen in your own marriage." Tears brimmed in my eyes, yet I held them back, for a part of me, the part I despised, was in agreement with him. For years, Henry had kept his distance, leaving me untouched, devoid of the feelings of femininity, desire, or anything beyond being a mere fixture in his quiet, dwindling existence. However, this was not love. This was strength, desire, power. In that moment, I recognized Ethan for who he truly was, not just a boy seeking love, but a man engaged in a perilous game, and he was emerging victorious. I rose to my feet and confronted him. "Are you ready to claim victory, Ethan? All right, you achieved your goal. This stops here. You depart alongside your father. Head over to Cheyenne. Let this slip from your memory. If you even think about spilling the secret to him, I promise you, I will destroy every connection you hold dear." His expression shifted from surprise to amusement. "Do you honestly believe you can act like nothing occurred?" I moved in closer, my gaze fixed on his. "I've faced greater deceptions than yours, and I will overcome this one as well." He held my gaze for a moment longer than usual, then broke into a smile. "It seems you possess more strength than I initially realized." As I pivoted and stepped out of his room, I was acutely aware that the repercussions would trail behind me. The weight of that guilt would linger in my bones for years, leaving me to wonder if I would ever find forgiveness within myself. Yet, I had reclaimed my power. I had marked a boundary in the ashes. Even if my marriage would never return to what it once was, and even if I could never see myself in the same light again, I made the choice to extinguish the flames before they devoured everything. Did Ethan have a master plan all along? Should Laura reveal her truth to Henry or keep it hidden away? Is it possible to untangle desire from manipulation? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story captivated you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your encouragement fuels this journey, one revelation at a time. Until the next tale unfolds, remain fearless, remain true, and keep your eyes peeled. That's it for today's story. If you found it moving, don't forget to share the video with your friends and family. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.